Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface with another Memoirs of a Warlock. In this series, I bring you special places for me within the world of Warcraft and at least try and explain or give you some sort of inkling as to why they mean so much. Now, in my previous outing with this series, I took you to Stratholme, the very first dungeon which I plucked up the courage to do. Today, I'm going to take you into another dungeon, but for complete and utterly different reasons, and this is old Hillsbrad Foothills. Now, the reason why this dungeon means so much to me is because it's actually become more special as time's gone on, which means a whole lot because, let's face it, we all have our locations or quest areas or NPCs or things like that which mean a lot to us within WoW. You know, we can always look back on them with rose-tinted specs, but when something actually starts to mean more as time goes on, then that's got to hold a very special place indeed. So why does it mean so much to me? Well, first of all, it's its location. Held in the Caverns of Time, the bronze dragonfly taking us back to a period of World of Warcraft history, injecting us into it and making us physically help the protagonist maintain the timeline, allowing things to happen as they should have happened, even if we brute force wise have to get involved. For instance, we had the culling of Stratholme, where we actually had to make sure that Arthur stayed alive and wasn't killed as he went round massacring the residents of Stratholme. We had Black Morass, where we actually helped Medivh open up the dark portal for the orcs to come flooding through. And then we had End Time with Deathwing, and then we had the Battle for Mount Hyjal, which was actually the raid version of Caverns of Time. So there are lots of different versions here, and what was quite intriguing about it was not only the fact that we're going back in time and living out some very important roles within the world of Warcraft, but the very fact of the morality aspect of it. We made sure that Arthas wasn't killed before he turned into the Lich King. We were making sure that the Dark Portal was open by helping Medivh, which of course allowed the Orc invasion to come flooding through. These are catastrophic events which actually went around Azeroth. When Arthas became the Lich King, the Scourge flooded across Azeroth itself, ripping apart the top of the Eastern Kingdoms. And then of course, when the Dark Portal was open and the Orc army came invading through, we all know the result of that because we have it living every day that you play WoW, Orcs versus humans. And then of course, you know, with the Battle of Mount Hyjal, although we didn't physically have to be there, it was still pretty cool to live out a seminal moment within the Warcraft lore. So why old Hillsbrad Foothills? Well, one of the massive reasons for this was its geography and its location, because the very first time that I entered this dungeon way back in 2007, I was an undead warlock that was residing on Hellfire server. So when I went into this dungeon, I first of all was transformed into a human, which was to me something I'd never experienced before when I'd been Horde for however many months it had been at that time. And not only that, is the town that meant the most to me within WoW at this present moment was Tarren Mill. I don't know why, I had a real infinity with the place. I just kind of loved the melancholy lore which surrounding it all, with the Scourge coming through and the way that the Forsaken broke away and all this kind of jazz. And for some reason, Tarren Mill was just this place out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by alliance that was still somehow thriving. And of course, with Tarren Mill came the Tarren Mill versus South Shore battles, which were just absolutely epic. And why Blizz destroyed that in Cataclysm, I still do not know or understand to this day. But to see Tarren Mill completely made up, beautiful, hadn't been ravaged by the Scourge, hadn't been destroyed, wasn't in any sort of dilapidated state, was amazing for me. So to see that in itself really filled my heart with you know, goosebumps and all that kind of stuff. And then going over to Dunholm Keep, that was pretty cool as well, because I'd only known this place to be, again, in a dilapidated order, to be destroyed, burnt down, and then suddenly all the buildings are erected again. Everything is absolutely fine. Yes, it might be a concentration camp for orcs, but still, it looked beautiful. The tower was completely mended. There was no boarding up, preventing you from going in. The actual main citadel was just beautiful. It was just completely built up. And inside, of course, we have to rescue Thrall. But this is a Caverns of Time instance, something which does involve time, chronological ordering, and all that kind of stuff. So as time's gone on, why does this mean more to me? Well, I kind of made a little bit of a hint to it before. Cataclysm destroying South Shore. It was a really ridiculous decision, if you asked me. They still could have done everything that they did, Blizzard, around this area without affecting South Shore. All they had to do was just do a little bit of a role reversal. Instead of Tarren Mill becoming this sort of jewel, almost in the Forsaken Crown, surrounded by all sides for the Alliance, they simply had to switch that up and make South Shore this little jewel in the Alliance's crown, surrounded by the Horde, or the Forsaken, whichever one was going to predominantly be in there, and still maintain the South Shore versus Tarren Mill battles which raged on. So, to destroy South Shore was a massive thing for me in Cataclysm, and to be honest with you, it put an end to an era of what was a phenomenal event that happened so organically within the world of Warcraft. So once more, suddenly, a couple of years later, I could go into the Caverns of Time and actually experience it from a completely different angle. Because I go into Hillsbrad Foothills, and then suddenly South Shore is now complete and utter. It's now, everything there is beautifully and constructed. And not only that, we can see people from World of Warcraft's past. We can see Kel'Thuzad just wandering around, being part of the Violent Eye, or the Kirin Tor, just kind of nefariously scheming in the background. And then if we go inside the inn, then we've got some major players here. We've got Mograine, and we've also got I was going to say Uther from in there, but we don't. We have Tyrion Fordring, who's also in there, and they have this event, if you stay and watch it, which allows for the creation of the Ashbringer. So there's always these little steeped bits of lore which just drizzle down in this Caverns of Time instance, something which can no longer be recaptured, because you go outside and you see the buildings, the town hall, the inn, the blacksmith, and all that kind of stuff, and then you realise what South Shore and Tarren Mill used to be like, and both of them are in the same predicament now. They're both destroyed. They've both been pretty much burnt to the ground. They are both shells of their former self. And this has actually evolved as time has gone on. Through the Burning Crusade, through Wrath of the Lich King, and then into Cataclysm, when Blizz decided to make the major change. So to come here now, see these figures from Warcraft history gone by, playing such a what seemed to be a passive role, little to their own knowledge of how much of an impact a lot of this going on was going to have. And then to see the physicality of it all. Dunholm Keep in all its glory. Tarren Mill in all its glory. And of course, pre-Cataclysm, South Shore in all its glory too. This is a really special instance. If you haven't experienced it, I'm telling you right now, I know 6.1 is lacking in everything, but drop what you're doing and wow. Go on over to the Caverns of Time. Go inside to Old Hillsbrad Foothills and just go round and enjoy it. Just look around and take in every aspect that you can. See how many physical changes have been made. See how many characters you can find from Warcraft lore gone by. And then when you feel as if you want to leave, go and help Thrall complete his destiny. This is a very, very special place, and it's only got better as time's gone on. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Those links are in the description down below, and I'll be back with more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.